Okay, well, hey, buenos dias, everybody. Profesor Cañedo here, and I promised you in my last video that I have an Argentina jersey for you, and it didn't take me long to deliver on that promise. I guess you could say. But yeah, as I mentioned in my video yesterday, I was definitely rooting for those guys in the World Cup. Came up a little bit short, but at least they had a good tournament. They had been struggling in the last few tournaments since they actually faced off against the Germans back in 1990. I was a big fan of the team even before Maradona was playing, back when Mario Kempes and Daniel Passarella were on the team. So we're talking about 1978. I was just a little guy back then, but that was the first time I really became aware of international soccer, and I've been following it ever since. All right. Well, listen, I didn't come here to talk that much about soccer or any other sports, so let me go ahead and tell you a little bit more about the class. I'll go over all of the key points in the syllabus, talk about the assignments, how the learning modules work, say a few things about the Chicano Time Traveler Journal, and anything else I need to mention about the class. So again, this is more of a nuts and bolts type of video, and I will of course have plenty more videos for you as the session unfolds. Many of the videos will actually focus in more on some of the specific assignments. So things like the EBSCO review and the Chicano Time Traveler Journal, I'll have videos about those more specifically coming up within the next couple of weeks. So whatever concerns or questions you have about the assignments right now, just hang in there, be patient. I'll have videos about all of that stuff as these first couple of weeks of the class begin to unfold. Okay, well, let me go and say a few things about the class, and I've got the class actually opened up here on my iPad on Blackboard. So first thing right off of the syllabus, of course, is the description, the objectives. So without getting into all of the details, just remember that this class focuses in on the time frame from roughly the end of the U.S.-Mexico War up until modern times. So we're talking about the late 20th, early 21st century. So everything which includes Cesar Chavez, the United Farm Workers, Corky Gonzalez, Reyes Lopez Tijerina, and on into more modern contemporaries, especially with respect to things such as literature and music. Luis Valdez, Cheech and Chong, Carlos Santana, some of those will definitely be covered too. And of course, heavy-hitting topics such as immigration. That'll be a constant theme throughout these next 8 weeks. So basically a panorama of the origins of the development of Mexican-American Chicano society, culture, politics from the mid-19th century all the way up until modern times. Okay, let me just scroll on the syllabus a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and get into more of the nuts and bolts quizzes and assignments and discussion boards. All right, quizzes. You're going to have 8 quizzes in the course of these 8 weeks. Obviously, quiz 1 pertains to week 1, quiz 2 to week 2, blah blah blah. And usually the quizzes will be on a Friday to Monday schedule. But to give everybody time to make sure you pick up the textbooks, which I'll show you in just a second here. I'm going to wait until the middle part or the early part of next week, the second week, to start quiz 1, and then starting with quiz 2 will be on a regular Friday to a Monday schedule. So just quiz 1 will have a different schedule, but everything else after that will be on the regular Friday to Monday schedule. And any point in time when there's a holiday, I know Labor Day is coming up, then the due date for the quiz will be on the Tuesday instead of the Monday. But it looks like for the majority of the session, we'll have a Friday to Monday schedule. I mentioned the books. Let me quickly say a couple quick things about that. There are 2 main books, of course. And my screensaver came on, so there we go, back again. First and foremost, you want to make sure you get Zaragoza Vargas' Crucible of Struggle. Vargas is a great scholar. He's been around for quite a while. He used to be at UC Santa Barbara, now he's at North Carolina. And this is a great panorama of the rise, the development of Chicano, Mexican-American history and culture. Actually, about the first 3 chapters pertain more to the MAS 141 class. So for those of you who were with me in the summer or in the spring or last fall in the previous classes, chapters 1 through 3 focus in on that. So if you took the 141 with me or with any of my other colleagues, Professor Guaracha, Professor Chavez, then you can definitely skip chapters 1 through 3. But if you haven't taken the 141, then I recommend that you read chapters 1 through 3 as recommended reading. Chapter 4 will be our first required reading, and of course the required readings that kick in this week. So just look on the schedule in the last part of the syllabus to see where the readings fit in. But again, this is going to be the main textbook. This is going to be your Bible, so to speak. Of course, I'm using Bible in more of a generic sense. So definitely get this as soon as possible because the readings will start on this right away. And also, besides Crucible of Struggle, you want to get microanalysis beyond 1848. This book's a little bit different in that where it's not a straight up history of the Chicano people. In this one, Ornelas has a variety of different articles pertaining to different elements, different aspects of Chicano society and history. So whether it's events happening with the railroads in the early 20th century, or selections on art, literature, and culture, which is the focus of one great article toward the end of this. Basically, what Ornelas does with the various selections that he put together is essentially fill in the gaps that Crucible of Struggle, seems to leave in the course of the book. So again, readings in this one start too. So besides Crucible of Struggle, make sure you get beyond 1848 as soon as possible. There are also a lot of PDF files and documents which are located within the class. So this is stuff that, of course, that you download. So make sure that you have the programs that read Adobe files, PDF files. So Apple Preview, any of the Adobe software, things of that nature. So make sure you have that so you can read all of the PDF files for the class. All right. Getting back to the quizzes for a second. Of the 8 quizzes, it's your best 7, the average of your best 7, which count toward your final grade. So each quiz is going to be 30 questions, but worth 3.33 points each, because I want everything to equal 100, but 30 it doesn't quite make 100 points. The closest I can get is 99.9 or 99999. You get the idea. So that was the best I could do to get the quiz to count as 100 points. But in any case, of your 8 quizzes, it's the average of your best 7. So for example, let's say you had 7 quizzes which were in the 90s, and 1 quiz you struggled, maybe you got a 70, 74, 72. So what happens is the average of your best quizzes that are in the 90s get tabulated. So if your average score is something like 91 or 92, then the 92 goes into the tabulations in Blackboard. The quiz that had the 72, that gets tossed out automatically. So remember that, everybody. Not all the quizzes count. It's your best 7 of 8, the average of your best 7 of 8, which go into the final calculations. And your quiz average is going to count as 20% of your overall class grade. All right, there's no final exam in the class. I didn't have time to really make one up, but most likely for the next time we do 142, there will be a final. So basically, this is going to be the last session in which there will not be a final for the 142, but that will definitely change in future sessions. Okay. The other assignment, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in a future video, which I'll have for you either toward the end of the first or beginning of the second. That's the Chicano Time Traveler Journal. But just to give you a quick preview on what that's all about, you're going to write 4 entries through the excuse me, you're going to write 4 entries during the course of the session. There are 4 due dates. These due dates come in on Tuesdays, actually. So after every 2 weeks of readings, I want you to go back in time, pretend you're a visitor, much like that old TV show from the 1980s, A Quantum Leap. You're bouncing back in time, and you're going to various parts of Chicano history. So whether you're there watching the U.S.-Mexico War and you're interviewing General Scott, or you're interviewing a Mexican soldier or soldadera, or you're in the 20th century and you're there in the Mexican Revolution, you're going to interview Pancho Villa. Obviously, use your imagination, be creative, and give me a sense of what's happening on the ground at that point in time, whether it's 1848, 1875, 1914, or even in more current times like 1965, 1966. You're there with Cesar Chavez in the Delano with the grape strike, and you're interviewing Cesar and some of the workers there on the line. So use your imagination. Again, this has 4 due dates. Each entry is going to be worth 25 points. So your totality of the 4 entries is going to be 100 points, and that's going to constitute as 10% of your final class grades. But again, more details about that coming up I'll have for you within the next week and a half. So just watch the announcements on Blackboard to find out when that video is going to be ready. All right, now you have 4 main writing assignments, and here's the first one that's due pretty soon, pretty early in the session. This is the U.S.-Mexico War assignment. After we have a coverage of the U.S.-Mexico War, which will be one of our first topics in the class, I want you to write a review on 3 articles that you'll find within the PBS website. Back in 1998, PBS had a great documentary on the U.S.-Mexico War, and to go along with it, they had a website which had a variety of different articles about the war, events happening before the war, during the war, and after the war. And thankfully, that information is still up on the PBS website, even though it's been 16 years since that program came out. So I'll have more guidelines about that in another video within the next couple of weeks. But basically, you're to write about 3 different articles about the war. Give me a summary within 5 to 7 pages. And this is going to count as 15% of your class grade. This will be due on Friday, September 12th. All right. A couple weeks after that is the next main writing assignment. That's the EBSCO host article review assignment. What you're going to do is you're going to enter the Southwestern College LRC website. You don't have to be on campus to access this. You don't have to be on the main campus, either of the HECs in San Isidro, Otay Mesa, National City. You can do this from your home. You just need the password, your Southwestern ID information to access this. Go to the EBSCO database and find an article pertaining to the scope of the class. So it could be anything on Cesar Chavez, on the Chicano serving in World War II, in Vietnam, Korea. Could be about the railroads, mining, literature, architecture. It could be articles about famous Latino artists, of course, like Carlos Santana, Linda Ronstadt, Vicky Carr, the list goes on and on. So once you find your article, let me know what your article is and go ahead and work on your review. And this is going to be due on Friday, September 26th. But like I said, we'll have more specific details on EBSCO and how to get into EBSCO within the next couple of weeks. Okay, after that, the next main assignment is the Chicano literature assignment. And what you're to do is to choose an article, not an article, a book, a novel from a famed Chicano Mexican-American author. So whether it's someone as iconic as Rodolfo Anaya, Sandra Cisneros, Jose Antonio Villarreal, Victor Villaseñor, of course, the local guy from the Oceanside, Carlsbad area. His famous book is Reign of Gold. Choose any of those fine works and do a review, roughly about 2/3 summary and 1/3 commentary. What I don't want is I don't want your reviews to be a straight summary of what your book is all about. Yes, I want a summary, but don't make it your entire focus. Give me about 2/3, 3/4 of your paper as a summary, but devote at least 1/3, at the very least 1/4 of your paper to a commentary, your perspective, your opinions, what you think about what you just read. I've got more guidelines, of course, listed right there in Blackboard in the assignment section, so just review all of that, and this way tells you exactly what you need to do. This thing is also going to be worth 15%, and this will be due on Friday, October 3rd. And the last minute assignment that's due on the 8th week is the Chicano video review assignment. You're to watch one of 3 programs from the Chicano, the Mexican-American Civil Rights Movement program that PBS put out way back in the mid-1990s, around 1995, 1996. Even though the information is starting to get a bit dated, the information still holds a lot of relevance to today. So watch one of 3 programs and do a review on that. Again, the guidelines are in the assignment section. Download the assignment worksheet. And much like with a book or with a novel review, give me a combined summary and commentary. Summarize the main points that happen in the video. So whether you're choosing the video about taking back the schools, the blowouts in East LA, Cel Castro, those people, devote about 2/3 or 3/4 of your paper to a summary of the main points, the main events that happen, but also make sure you reserve a good portion of your paper on your commentary, your perspective, your analysis, what you think about what you just viewed, and how it's important within the wider scheme of things with respect to Chicano, Mexican American Studies. So this is going to be the last major writing assignment, and this thing is going to be due on Friday, October 10th. Now keep in mind, on some of these assignments, except the Chicano video review, you can't turn it in late. There is going to be a 1-week grace period, but remember, if you do that, there'll be a 1-grade deduction. So don't get in the habit of waiting until the last minute and then deciding, well, I'll wait till next week to turn it in. If you want to get away with that with maybe one assignment, that shouldn't be a problem. I've had many students in the past who've made the calculated decision on turning in one paper late, but turning everything else in on time, and they've still been able to score high grades in the class. But again, don't get into the habit of doing that because that grade deduction will of course be costly over the long haul. So in order to get the most credit, obviously it behooves you to make sure you turn in all your work on the required due date. All right, the last major item with respect to what your grade is going to be based on is the discussion forums. I already split the class into 3 large groups, groups 1, 2, and 3. So depending on your last name, whether your last name is say Alvarez, Alonso, Castañeda, you'll be in group 1. Whereas likewise toward the end of the alphabet, if your last name is say something like Vargas, Zarate, then of course you'll be in group 3. So just look in the discussion board to see where you are. I've already got instructions on what you need to do in terms of choosing questions. All of these questions are taken from the readings. There's questions devoted to beyond 1848. There's questions devoted to the Crucible of Struggle book, and there's questions devoted to a lot of the readings of the PDF files within the learning modules. So just read over my directions carefully in the discussion board. That should clear everything up. But if you're confused about anything on any of that, definitely let me know. And as I mentioned in my video from yesterday, I want everybody to start getting into the habit of using Messages for Professor in Blackboard. If you're getting started in the class, of course, my email's fine, but from now on, start using Messages for Professor. It's a lot easier to communicate with everybody if all the messages, the communications are kept within Blackboard itself. And discussions are worth 10% of your class grade. But remember, I do grade, of course, not just on quality of your comments, but on quantity too. So if you miss a forum, that is, let's say if you're in group 1, you have to write in forums 1, 4, and 7. If you choose a question for form 7 but don't follow up and answer it, you're not going to get credit for form 7. If you miss any forum answer, the highest grade you can get will be a C. So it's really important that in order to make sure you score an A or at least a B in the forum part of the class, make sure you answer all 3 required forms. So again, if you're in group 1, you answer in forms 1, 4, and 7. Group 2, 2, 5, and 7. Because we have 8 weeks, not 9, I had to double up groups 1 and 2. So groups 1 and 2, you're going to be working together in form 7. That's sort of a jumbo forum, so to speak. And then in group 3, you'll work on forms 3, 6, and 8. So again, to make sure you get at least a B in your discussion forum grade, make sure that you post answers, post remarks in all 3 of the forms that you're required to work in. But again, any questions or concerns, just check with me. Send me a note in Message for Professor, and I'll clear things up for you. But I think my instructions in the discussion board that I've already posted in forms 1, 2, and 3 should be able to clarify any concerns or questions you might have at this time. All right, after the information I've got in the syllabus about discussion forums, if you just scroll down, there's of course more details about the class in terms of DSS. So if anyone is going through a DSPS, let me know, and I'll make sure you get your proper accommodations. There's information on plagiarism, academic success. So just go ahead and read that on your own time. And then after that, I've got all the lessons lined up starting from this week all the way to the end of the session. So read all of that. Take a look to see what's happening on a weekly basis. And again, the lessons go all the way from this week to the middle part of October when the class is wrapping up. And at the very end of the syllabus, I have the course grading structure, which indicates how much everything is worth within the context of the class. The class is going to be, your points are going to be based on a weighted total column that is, you're going to get a total at the end of the session close to 100 points, within a 100-point scale. So for example, let's say in the Chicano Time Traveler journals, your overall score is 90 from the 4 that you put in. Don't assume, don't think that, well, I got 90 on that, that's 90 points total into my final grade. No, what happens is that 90 points is going to be multiplied by 10%. So that means it's going to be 9 points. 9 points, which will go into the Blackboard calculations, and then do the same formula to the rest of the items in the class. And then overall, that'll make your overall total close to 100 points on a 100-point scale. But I'll have more details about all of that stuff toward the end of the session. But so don't worry too much about any of that stuff at this point in time. All right, let me quickly point out a couple of other things on the class. So if you look in the class, if you look back on the course menu, you notice that you see 8 things which are listed as weeks. Week 1 through week 8. These are the modules. Each week we're going to look at everything via modules. So right now, of course, it's week 1. Look at the stuff that's in week 1 module. I've got a overview essay about the readings, about what you have to look out for, how to go through the readings, and then I've got the links to all the various PDF articles in there. So every week, make sure you go, at the beginning of each week, make sure you go in those modules to see what you have to do. And one thing I'll also add, in fact, I'll do this for you, if not today, Tuesday, then coming up on Wednesday, is I'll have a quick video in which I summarize some of the key points, the key elements that you're to be looking out for within the context of the module. So I'll have that ready for you within the next couple of days to go along as a supplement to the overview essay. All right, the assignment section, of course, self-explanatory. That's where you have more details about each assignment and the assignment worksheet. So make sure you take a look at that and download all those forms and read all of that stuff. Quizzes, that's the section, of course, we're going to take the various quizzes. Discussion boards, as I mentioned in the video from yesterday, go in there, go find the introductions form and introduce yourselves. Of course, you already saw my introduction from yesterday, so now it's my turn to get to find out who all of you, senores and senoritas are. And Time Traveler Journal, that's where you're going to enter your Time Traveler Journal information. But again, coming up within the next few days, I'll have another video in which I focus exclusively on what Time Traveler Journal is all about. And I think that pretty much covers it. The other items here in the menu are mainly administrative, bureaucratic items which come included with the class, so you can take a look at those in your own time. Of course, you want to take a look at my grades, so that'll probably be the one thing you'll be looking at quite frequently. So with that, I think that covers everything. I know this video is running a little bit long, but this will most likely be the longest video that I have for you during the course of the session. I'll try to keep the other videos within the range of about 15, 17 minutes, no more than 20 minutes as the session unfolds. All right, so there you have it, everyone. That's what's happening in this class for these next eight weeks. Any concerns or questions on anything, please start using Messages for Professor in Blackboard, and I'll reply to you as quickly as possible. During the school week, within a 24-hour time frame, and on weekends, close to about 48 hours. So again, for rapid replies to any concerns or questions you might have, definitely get your messages into me during the course of the regular school week. All right, so that's it from here. That's it from my home office. As soon as the weather starts cooling off, hopefully the next week or so, I'll start recording from the outside, and we can meet some of my furry companions, my fuzzy friends. And in fact, some of the videos that I'll post will be some of my older videos. My furry friends aren't there, so you'll probably meet them pretty soon with the next couple of videos I have that I post for you. Okay, so that's it. Hope your first few days of the semester have gone okay. You've got your classes all right. You know where your park. You know where your favorite parking spot is, and you're able to figure out how this class is working, and any other classes, any other of your online classes, you're figuring out how those things work. So that's it from here. You guys take care, and good luck the rest of the week. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon, which I talk a little bit more about the readings coming up in or going on in this week. Okay, everyone, take it easy. Hasta luego, and I'll talk to you guys más tarde.